Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas virtual youth economic empowerment class, the high school edition. I'm going to be taking roll in about 2 minutes. So make sure you have your mics off and you're ready to say here or present when I call your name. And then our fearless leaders, Mr. Daryl Rayford and Ms. Vanessa Tonga is going to take it away for class today. And if everybody could turn on their cameras, that would be fantastic. We want to see your bright and smiley faces. Beautiful smile, Daryl, beautiful smile.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I guess the rest of you still have the curlers in your hair and you don't want to be seen.
Let's start with a quick attendance and then we'll get going. Amir Wilbert. Amir Wilbert. Ayana Jackson. Angel Flores. Kristen Egahante.
Here.
Corey Stevenson. Devon Hunter. Darius Reed. Devon Green. Elijah Allure. Elijah Allure. Emerly Cross.
Here.
Elijah's here.
Yes, Elijah.
Elijah is here. Okay. Emberly Cross is here.
Here. Yeah.
Okay. Emerald Green. Irana Washington.
Here.
Jermar Samuel. Giselle Childs. Jaden Bills. Jaden Allen.
Here.
Jalen Leah. Caden Leah. Carson Ball. Kalani Allen.
Here. Kaylani Allen's here.
Okay. Kenya Seltzer. Kyle Jacob. Leah Lopez Jackson.
Here.
Leah Jackson. Lorenzo Jackson Jr. Luna Lopez Martinez. Marcus Diaz. Marilyn Terrell.
Here.
Nasir Parker. Nael Parker. Octavia Green. Russell Whitmore.
He'll be joining in just a second.
Okay. Sanai Brimmer. Sanai Bunch.
Here.
Savannah Newell. Samaya Hood. Sydney Harris. Treasure Payton.
Here.
Zaire Macklin. Zion Robinson. If you did not hear your name being called, please open your mic and tell me.
Darius Reed is here.
Okay,
Kyle Jacob is here.
okay. Is there anybody else we missed?
Did you get my name, Washington? I know I said there, but I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, Mr. Rayford, Ms. Tonga, take it away.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We are here for another Saturday session. I hope you're getting something out of these sessions. I know I am. Again, I'm hoping that you're speaking to your friends and your parents with respect to the subject matter that we are discussing and we have discussed. I want to also recognize, I have some colleagues on this line. That's how important this is. We have a Mr. Hanks online, and we have a Mr. Whitmore, whose son is online. And my main man, Leroy, he's here. I see him witnessing everything. So this is great. So again, financial literacy is very important. And as you can see, people tune in because it's very important. So if you have any questions, as Ms. Tanga addresses us, please feel free. And if you notice, we have been very engaging. One of the things I'm proud about these Saturday sessions, we've been so engaging that we've been running a little over time, and Ms. Tanga has had to kind of say, okay, we're running out of time. So this is a good thing about this session. We have been very engaging, and I'm very proud of you. So without further ado, Ms. Tanga, if you could take over.
All right, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
And Mr. Rayford, you said my exact sentiments this morning. To look at the screen and see so many of you still on, and this is the last day before assessment, and I know you all will do well. But I'm just like really, really proud of you. I'm really proud of the time you all have taken to be here every Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning when you don't have to, you know? And I just feel like, I mean, it's Black History Month. I don't know if we discussed it before, but it's Black History Month. And there's so many strides that we have done as people. And I think we're gonna continue to do. And I'm just so happy to know that you all are our future leaders, that you guys are gonna know finances way before I understood it, way before Mr. Rayford understood it. But you're here learning about it because we have to know how money moves in America and internationally in order for us to know how to make sure that we're successful and our future generations are. So I just want to say thank you all for being here every Saturday morning. And I am so proud to see so many of you on, even though you guys are not on a screen, but I'm really happy. So if you can, go ahead and show your faces, because if I ever see any of you out and about, it'd be great to know that you are in my class. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna share my screen, and I wanna thank you for our wonderful guests that are here with us today. So today we're going to be talking about school and money. Let's see. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for being so engaged. Thank you.
It's so easy to complain about school. Just ask me. I'm an expert. But let's talk about the positive. Education beyond high school can give you skills you'll use for the rest of your life, no matter where you live or what job you do. And more education can help you earn a lot more money. So if you want to make more, or just make more of yourself, think of education beyond high school as an investment in you.
All right, so as we always do, we'll take a quick quiz and let's all continue to be engaged. So on the left-hand side is going to be the word, and then the definition on the right-hand side. And of course, we may not know what the answers are right now, but by the end of the class, we will. So on the left-hand side, we see FAFSA. What do you believe the definition of FAFSA is that's on the right?
U.S. Department of Education Financial Aid Application Form.
All right, we'll do that. What is COA? Okay, we'll skip that. What is a promissory note?
A legal agreement, or I don't know if that says legal, but that one.
Okay, good. And what is a 529 plan?
A way for adults to invest for a child's education.
All right, so what's left is COA and total cost of full-time education. I'll submit. All right, we did good. Awesome. Sometimes you have to skip what you don't know, and then it'll be the end result. So let's get started. Education and earning power. Antonio is at a turning point. He's about to graduate from high school. His friends want him to join them in college. His goals are to be an electrician and borrow as little as possible. Read the choices and let me know which one you think is the best. So we have 1, 2, or 3. So going to move to a town where my friends are at a state college, pick up a job and try to save enough to join them in school. Or number 2, I'm going to stay at home with family and work at local auto parts shop. It's a steady work and I can keep my expenses low. Or number 3, I'm going to work part-time as an electrician, assistant, and go to trade school and get licensed as an electrician, electrical contractor. What do you guys think?
The last one.
I think the second one.
Anyone else?
I think the second one too.
Okay, so we'll do the second one and see what happens. Actually, it's the third one. I'm going to go work part-time as an electrician assistant and go to a trade school, get licensed as an electrical contractor. That's my dream. Mr. Rayford, what do you think? These are like 3 good choices, you know?
Well, 2 and 3 are good, but when I really look at number 2, it reminds me of a saying, I could give you fish or I could teach you how to fish. Number 2 is I could give you fish because you're staying at home and you're working locally and you're keeping your expenses low, but it doesn't really address moving on by yourself. Number 3 for me reflects moving on by myself because I'm working part-time and I'm going to a trade school to eventually have a trade. So now I can fish for myself. That's my take on those two.
Okay. So education, more education equals more job options. Before we get to that part, what I would like to do is kind of do a little bit of an interactive, and just so you know, this is what gets us in trouble. But I want to know, do most of you want to go to college, or do some of you want to go to a trade school? So, you know, let me just kind of one by one, or as much as possible, let us know, do you want to do a trade or do you want to go to college? Because that will also help us as we go through this whole class.
Trade.
College.
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 Okay, I heard somebody say trade. What trade would you like to go into? We can't hear you yet.
Hello, what trade would you like to go into, sir?
All right, maybe he can't speak right now. Okay, and those that want to go to college, what degree would you like to get?
My bachelor's right now.
Bachelor's, and a bachelor's in what?
A 4-year degree.
And do you know what medicine?
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
Well, Ms. Tanga is asking, what profession do you want to realize when you finish your degree? Do you want to be a doctor, lawyer, an accountant, business person? Even when you say business, you got to be more specific as to what in business, marketing, economics. Business is too general.
So if any of you know what you want, what profession do you want to get into with your degree?
Animation.
Animation, okay. What else?
Architecture.
Architecture. I think I heard law degree. Okay, good. We'll keep going. So what it sounds like is a lot of you want to go to college. You know you want to go to college. Maybe you don't know what exactly you want to do, but you know you want a 4-year degree. And that's awesome. So we'll keep going. And I also will say a trade is also just as important. And we'll find out.
For some jobs, you don't need specialized education or training beyond what you learned in high school. But lots of jobs do require it, and there are lots of options for getting it. Trade school, technical school, or college.
Many subjects offered at college aren't geared to specific jobs or careers. But college can give you skills like how to research, solve problems, and express yourself that'll help you in almost any area. And some classes can help you get ready for jobs in healthcare, high tech, or the business world.
Exactly. Education beyond high school can give you the knowledge and skills that lead to more job and career options.
So think about the kinds of work that you think are worthwhile. What interests you? What are you naturally good at? And what's your idea of an amazing challenge?
After you've identified some careers that interest you, see what kind of education and training is required and how the salaries in those jobs match up with your financial goals.
Okay, good. So what this video is explaining is you could do college, you could do trade school. So it all depends on what you're looking for. So it's going to be important that if you know what you like now and you could do a trade, then go for it. So that way you can get specialized and it may take less time than getting a 4-year generalized degree and you go right into your career path. Otherwise, if you want to go to college, get more general training, and that way you go to different career paths, you also have that option. So the important thing to know is you have options.
If I may add, Ms. Tanga, I want everybody to write this down also. because a lot of times as we go through the path of education, we learn algebra, we learn geometry, we learn biology, we learn chemistry, we learn English 101, we learn English 102. I teach at the College of Southern Nevada, and one of the things that I've taken a step back to assess my task on teaching accounting, school is not per subject per se. School is really to get you to think. Those people who are deciding to go into a trade, that's great. But think outside the box. I have a trade. I need to save some money so I can own this business. Think outside the box. I want to have a bachelor's degree in marketing. You have to take psychology, sociology. You have to learn how to deal with people. So as you're going through your pathway of education, connect the dots. Discuss these things with your teacher, how it can help you. One of the things I work with in the community here in Las Vegas is in the field of accounting. And one of the things, the feedback that I've got from Caesars, MGM, accounting firms, Nevada Energy, a lot of people coming out of school with accounting degrees cannot write. They're very shy, they're bashful, they don't want to talk. And if you can't write, and if you don't want to talk, you're not adding value to the business. Write that down. I've said that more times than one. Adding value to a business. I want all of you to be very, very, very successful. Thank you, Ms. Tanger.
All right. Yeah, so the more education you have, the more earning power you have. So the level of education you achieve can make a huge difference in how much money is available and you're able to earn. Everyone's situation and goals are going to be different. A four-year college may not be right for everyone. So that's why we will have people that do want to do a trade. But as Mr. Rayford said, like one of the things I always said is, if my daughter wanted to be a garbage woman, I'll say, great, be a garbage woman, but own your own. So owning your own business is going to be important. And sometimes you may need more at college. So we'll see. So how much does education pay? Here you'll see different earning amounts. So Mr. Rayford, in your experience, what would you say to this chart?
It's about average. I mean, all of these are about average, and it depends upon what your goal is. These numbers are statistical numbers, but here in America, your ceiling is sky high. I always look at Shaquille O'Neal. He retired out of NBA, and I don't know how much money he had in the bank when he retired out of the NBA, but now he has amassed about $450 to $500 million. And what that means to me is he has income streams whereby his money's working for him for the rest of his life.
And that's basically what you want to do. We talked about investing in the beginning. We talked about savings, and now we're talking about college. So how are you gonna invest? How are you gonna save? You're gonna have a job. So you're looking at different professional degrees here, and you're seeing the different earning potentials. So you get to decide on what you want to make and how much energy you want to put into a degree or a business.
And a lot of it, if I may add, a lot of it also depends upon you. And this is the intangible, something that is not a degree. What's in your gut? What's in your gut? I have a nephew who graduated with his bachelor's, and he sells air conditioning and heating for commercial industry, and he made $175,000 last year. So these are barometers, but what's in your gut? The limit is sky high.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I'm kind of a little jealous about is nowadays people are making money with like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. You guys have so much potential So the thing is, it's like, you can still do the school, get your degrees, but you also have the potential of making money on other side gigs. So definitely keep growing and keep learning.
And connect the dots. Always connect the dots.
All right, so the money you need, and where will you find
Yeah,
it?
we actually seen her when we're done. Oh,
Oh, don't forget to unmute yourself. Or
Education beyond high school has a be high. Where will you get the money you need?
There are 4 common sources. The first one is savings, and the other 3 sources are called financial aid.
Right. Financial.
That's outside, huh?
Excuse me, someone else needs to go on mute.
Yeah, Amir, you gotta mute yourself.
Oh, my bad.
No worries.
Education beyond high school has a price tag, and the cost can be high. Where will you get the money you need?
There are 4 common sources. The first one is savings, and the other 3 sources are called financial aid.
Right. Financial aid includes money you're given, money you earn, and money you borrow. For some of this money, you need to apply to the U.S. Department of Education in order to qualify.
If you apply for financial aid, each school that accepts you for admission will send you a letter that lists how much of each type of financial aid you're eligible to receive. The list may include grants, scholarships, a work-study program, and loans.
All right, so we're talking about how are you going to pay for college? So I went to the University of Missouri, Columbia, it's Mizzou, in 2000. So I went there, I graduated in 2000. So I went there in 1995. So I went to the University of Missouri, and the way that my family paid for me to go to college is I got some grants, I got some student loans, and I also did work study. So there's so many options on what you can do to get money to go to college. So don't feel like you can't go because your family's poor. Because I'll tell you this, my family was poor. My mom was poor. So I got a lot of grant money, which was great. I got some student loans, and then I also had to work. And luckily the job that I had, I was able to study at work. So there's a lot of different options. Mr. Rayford, how do you know people pay for their schooling?
Well, I paid for my school. I went to night school and I worked during the day. So my jobs paid for my education. My wife had full rides. So her athletic skills paid for her education. We both came out of school with no debt. But one of the things that she and I learned from a gentleman here in Las Vegas, he was the first Black CPA in Las Vegas. He was the first Black person on the gaming commission here in Las Vegas. And sitting down with him in 1969, he was told by somebody, a college friend of his, he said, apply for grants. Let the grantee turn you down. But the task was to apply for 50 grants a day. And back in 1969, you did not have this online stuff. So he had to do it all by mail. And at first he did not do the 50 calls or 50 letters a day. And the guy asked him, well, how many are you doing? He said 10. And the guy called him lazy. And he was insulted by being called lazy. So he started doing 30 and 40. Make a long story short, when he graduated, he had $75,000 in the bank with no loans. So as Ms. Tanga has said, there are ways that you could get educated without taking out loans. And I did not know about anything like that except for a loan. So, and here's a gentleman in 1969 graduated, no debt, by getting all these grants. I mean, he went after the Jewish grant, he went after the women's grant, he went after every single grant and let them turn him down if necessary, but he kept on going for all these grants.
Yeah, you bring up about a really good point because there's a lot of grants and scholarships. So, I mean, there's a lot of African-American scholarships, first person in your family that's going to college scholarships. So make sure you're looking for all of the extra monies and you're actually applying for it. Like you said, you can apply for 50 a day or 10 a day. How much do you really want it? So
And one of the things, I'm sorry, Ms. Tang, one of the things that I asked you guys to write down in another session is sacrifice. A lot of this is about sacrifice, but when it's all said and done, you'll have some money in the bank. Thank you.
So how much does college cost? So when you're looking at a private college, it could be about $49,000 a year. And then the public schools, the universities, they're about $25,000 a year. So I mean, it does vary. And why does it vary? Number one, the name of the school is very important. Also, if it's public or private, compares. And then if it's a 2-year or a community college. So there's a lot of reasons why it varies. Now, what you want to make sure is that you're comparing each of the costs. And I think it was a couple of classes ago, Mr. Rayford talked about starting a community college and then maybe then moving to a 4-year school so you're not spending so much money. Because Mr. Rayford, you know people that have done that and have been successful, correct?
Yep, I was one of them. My son was another one. He went to the University of Minnesota. He went to community college, transferred all those credits over, and he finished his degree at the University of Minnesota. So again, I've been told this by mentors in my life, you are in probably the best country in the world. We have our faults, but as far as opportunities, if you make a sacrifice, you could win in this country.
Yes, you can. So there's a lot of different savings accounts that you're gonna have for college. So you have the education savings account, where you can save $2,000 per year until age 18. Savings are put in investments, stocks and bonds. We talked about those before. Investing, if you put money in stocks and bonds, your money can grow faster than just a regular savings account. We have 529 plans. And you also have prepaid tuition plans. Sorry, my voice is getting really bad. And Mr. Rayford, I'm gonna hand it over to you only because I sound really bad. So we have grants and scholarships.
You sound good to me.
Oh, do I? Okay, good.
So anyway, Grant, you could take a lozenge right now. Grants and scholarships, the more money you can get in grants and scholarships, this is what I just said, the less you'll need to borrow. This is what I just said. And it's money that you don't have to repay. This is what I just said. Again, talk to your parents. Your parents are a little older than you. Listen to what they have to say. Talk to your teachers, your professors, your mentors. Money awarded to students from sources such as universities and nonprofits. We're a nonprofit and we give out scholarships, okay? You don't have to repay. Common types, there are thousands of different scholarships and they vary in terms of how to apply them, okay? So some scholarships will specifically tell you this is for books, this is for whatever, but again, it's not money out of your pocket. How to learn more? You guys have the internet. Okay, and I'm not even reading this last one. You guys have the internet. Just type in scholarships, type in grants, and you're going to get a laundry list of agencies to apply for. And as I said, this was learned by me about 3 years ago by somebody who graduated in 1969. He said, apply for the Jewish scholarship, apply for the women's scholarship, and see if you get it. So don't look at a scholarship or a grant and say, oh, I'm not in line with that. Apply for it. Work study, learn about a government sponsored program that may allow you to earn money to help pay for education. Yeah. My nephew works in Washington, D.C. He's in a work study program. The federal government is paying for his master's program. There are ways to leverage your, as I call it, sweat for an education. Ms. Tanga?
Yes. So at the University of Missouri, Columbia, my work study was working at the Black at the Black Student Center. So it was really great. So I would go there, I'd answer phones. We had a study room. So I would help people reserve the study room. And then they also had tutoring sessions done there. So I would also help people reserve that session. So when you apply for these scholarships and grants, well, especially for the grants and use FAFSA, FAFSA may ask you that, okay, we'll give you so much money, but we also want you to work for the school. So there'll be different jobs that you can apply for on campus that you can actually work there. They'll give you money and it'll be easy because it's really on campus and it's easy. Something I wanted to go back to when Mr. Rayford talked about, you know, how much energy are you willing to put into things? So for me, I knew my family had no money. There was no 529 plan. That's cute and all, right? But there was no 529 plans. My family came from Africa. They were poor. They worked their butts off. They made sure I went to school, made sure I got on a bus and everything. So what I did during my lunch hours, my first semester of high school, of my senior year of high school, was I was in the computer lab applying for all of these schools, applying for all of these scholarships. Because back then, it's not like today. You all have laptops at home. We didn't have laptops at home. So I had to make sure I got to a computer and I applied for these schools and I got on the internet and everything else. So if I was able to do that during my senior year, when I should have been sitting at the cool kids table because I was a cheerleader, I wasn't really worried about that. I wanted to make sure I had the money. So make sure you take the time and energy because no one's going to give you anything. You have to earn it. Let's see what's next. Oh, needing to borrow. This is the student loans. And you may have heard some of your parents talk about student loans. You don't want to do it, so apply for as many scholarships as possible. But sometimes you have to borrow.
If the combination of your savings, grants, scholarships, and work study isn't enough to pay for school, you may need to borrow money too.
But remember, after you leave school, you'll have to repay your student loans with interest. So before you borrow, make sure to explore all of your options. Focus on getting grants and scholarships that don't have to be repaid.
And to keep your financial future healthy, borrow only the amount you'll need.
All right. So honestly, student loans are a necessary evil, I'll say, because sometimes, like, let's say you want to be a doctor, you know, it's going to take a lot of money for you to become a doctor, many years of school. So you may not always have the money. So you do have to take out student loans and know that that's available to you. You may be in a situation where you know you have these dreams and these hopes, and you just don't have enough to cover everything. So it's definitely available. But as much as possible, I still want to kind of lean on making sure you have the grades, so you have scholarships, make sure you take the time to apply for grants and scholarships, because you want to borrow only what you need, because you don't want to be caught with bad credit. We talked about bad credit and how your credit score will follow you for the rest of your life. So student loans don't make a big impact, as big as an impact on your credit score, but it can. So you don't want anything to negatively affect it. Mr. Rayford, what would you say about student loans? So you're lucky. I had student loans. You didn't. So what are your thoughts?
Well, again, it depends. If you have to do a student loan, you have to do a student loan. But one thing that per this exercise that Ms. Tanga and I have done, whether you realize it or not, is we minimized excuses. You don't have an excuse why you don't look at all the scholarships that are available. Ms. Tanga and I didn't know about all these scholarships. So I went to night school and I had a job pay for my education. Ms. Tanga took out student loans. I have a nephew, just to support what Ms. Tanga said, I have a nephew, full ride at UNLV. He took out student loans and he bought his girlfriend purses and shoes. And now he's got those student loans hovering over his head today and he regrets it. So again, Listen to what we're telling you, talk to your parents, talk to your friends, but there are avenues out there where you do not have to take a student loan. But if you have to, get your education. And that's what one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about as far as 529s, that's where you save. Remember, money works with time. You know, my wife took out a 529 on our son, and I'll give her all the credit. And she put money away up until he graduated. And we had $50,000 in the 529 for when he went to college. So she just put a little bit away every month. So there are avenues out there. If you can, again, I use this word, make the sacrifice. Give up those Jordan shoes for the Skechers shoes.
And I know it's hard. I know.
It's hard. It's very hard.
And then just remember, everything's for a season. So sometimes, you know, you may have that 6 months or 1 year where you don't have everything you want, but is it going to be worth it in the end? You know, will you be the person that can go to college because you sacrificed having those Jordans your senior year? You know, and of course, you know, just one pair of Jordans won't do it, but it's like, you know, getting a job, saving, you know, not going to every party on a weekend because you want to put more money in your savings. So definitely think about the sacrifice. So how much can you repay? So repay your student loans, keep your monthly student payments to less than 10% of your net monthly income you plan to earn after college. So the math is multiply 8.8, which is 80%, then divide by 12, and take that number and multiply it by 1, which is 10%, I'm sorry, 0.1. And the final number will be what you can afford. So at this point, you may not know what that is, but if you just try to pay take as little borrowing money as possible, that's going to help you the most. Okay, so when you have student loans, let's see. So you have the Federal Perkins loan, which is a low interest loan offered by schools. Federal staffer loans were offered through banks, credit unions, non-for-profits, providers, or directly from the federal government. So the most important thing to know is you have all different types of loans and even a parent loan. There's subsidized Stanford loans, which are awarded based on the student's financial needs. The key benefit is you don't pay this one back. And then there's unsubsidized Stanford loans that are not awarded based on financial needs, however, are responsible for paying you are responsible for paying these loans back. So you have the ones where they'll look at your parents, see how much your parents make, and your parents don't make much, they'll give you these subsidized Stanford. Otherwise, you get the unsubsidized, and you got to pay it back. And as we talked about it before, there's always interest because the banks want to make some money. So that's the way that they are able to give you the loans, because they give you the loans and you pay interest on it. And that's why you don't want to pay, you don't want to borrow too much money because there's always interest that's going to be on top of it. And then the FAFSA, you apply for it every year. And I believe it starts, it opens up October 1st. And then you want to submit all of your FAFSA by February 1st. And then that's going to allow the school and the government to see how much money do you need and how much money your parents are making. And they'll try to cover those costs. All right, now we need to make it happen. Katie is trying to decide the best order to do things. Read through her list. What's the best choice? 1, 2, or 3? Go ahead and take a look.
Number 2, maybe?
Okay, number 2.
I agree with number 2.
Okay. Okay, we got 2 people.
2 or 3?
2 or 3? Okay, we'll do 2. Ooh. So what they want you to do is find out about bank loans. And then senior year, start applying for scholarship and grants. And I will say that I agree with you all. I think I'll start looking for scholarships now, because the way Mr. Rayford and I speak about it. And then we'll fill out applications for the student aid. And lastly, I will look at bank loans if I need it. So I actually agree with number 2. And let's see, number 3. Yeah, number 3, you calculate how much money you need for college, and then you will do loans. Yeah, I think right now I'll do number 2 the best, but I do understand, number 1, understanding if your family qualifies for loans. I'll tell you this, number 1 would not have been my choice because my family would not have qualified for no loans. So that wouldn't have happened. So for me, number 2 would have been, but I definitely understand. Some families can apply for loans and then they'll see what else they can get. A lot of us, we need scholarship and grants, and then we'll see if we get a loan. Mr. Rayford, your thoughts?
I agree with you 100%. I think the way that is written, number 1 is not clear. I think what they're saying is I look at scholarships and grants because you got to pay back the bank loan. But on its face value, I agree with all of you on number 2. Even when I do consulting with businesses, you've got to pay the bank back, and cash is king. Well, if you don't have the cash, so you got to figure out a way to get the cash. So I agree with all of you, number 2.
All right, good. We're teaching you guys well. Get all the scholarships and grants first.
It's tiring, people. It's very tiring. It's very labor intensive. But at the end, when you say I don't have any debt, it's a great feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So how are you going to do this all? So these are the steps. Number 1, just challenge yourself in high school. You know, take a challenging work courses, make sure take all opportunities available to you, participate in extracurricular activities, volunteer, because all of that's going to be really good for your application. Talk to your family and evaluate schools, study for placement tests, and things like SATs, ACTs. You got to make sure you have all of that going. And this is where it goes. Get ready for tests. Prepare for these tests. Yeah, you want to make sure you register for them. And then also know that for, and I don't know how it is now, but I do believe when I was in high school, I was able to get the ACT paid for because my family made such a low income. So definitely talk to your counselors. They could tell you what you will qualify for. Actually, okay, I'll tell you this. Like my mom made like $19,000 a year, and she had two kids. So a lot of college applications I didn't have to pay for because college applications back then were like $50 an application. My mom did not have the money. So I went to my counselor. She would write a letter to the school, and my application would be free. So talk to them. What to consider by your junior year, start to consider what you want in post-secondary school. Consider what schools that you want to go to have the your subjects, extracurricular activities, and interests. And if you want to do a trade school, also be thinking about that at that time. Then you want to reach out to those schools, get their brochures, talk to some of those counselors, and start narrowing it down. Like, for example, like I looked at all schools like Missouri, Florida, Texas, but then after I really like looked at the cost, I realized that I needed to go to a school that was close to home. And you may decide you don't. And then keep track of your research. Make sure you have a folder or something that you know what schools you applied for, and you're waiting for those, the information to come back. Mr. Rayford, anything else they should do to prepare?
No, I think you hit all the things that were in the back of my head. But again, just remember, try to get an education, get a quality education, and try, underline the word try, to come out of school with little to no debt.
Yes. And then I'll touch on these items, but what I want to do next is I want to open up the conversation to see what questions you have. Because I've been sharing a lot of information, but maybe you have other questions about paying for school or going to school. And because this is our last session on Zoom, I want to make sure I give you the opportunity to ask questions. And it doesn't have to be about this class only. It could be about anything else in the past. Or if you want to share any successes that you learned about and you've kind of mastered since the beginning of the course. So I'll go over this and then I'm going to open up the mic, okay? So your junior year, you want to make sure you go into informational nights and career fairs. You want to do your SATs, ACTs, and then start looking at all the schools that you want to go to online and also visit those schools. Your senior year in September, talk to your guidance counselor. I'll even say do that your junior year. And honestly, just get to know your guidance counselor. There's so many opportunities from freshman year to senior year that you can participate in. So get to know your counselor and they will talk to you about, getting scholarships, getting waived as far as paying the different exam fees or school fees. So like if you know your family is a little bit in financial distress, like my family was, talk to your counselor now. Let them know like you want to go to college, but you're not sure how you're going to pay for it or even pay for all the application fees. Yeah, in October, you definitely want to start applying for all of these schools because you're going to hear, they'll be making their decisions around February, March. November, but yeah, making sure that you know the application deadlines and submitting all of that. December, you may want to decide where you want to live next year and submit your housing applications. So as you're getting your approvals, people, different schools say, yes, you're in, you'll start letting them know they're gonna live on campus or off campus. Your senior year, you wanna make sure you have your FAFSA form signed, turned in. I'll tell you this, the sooner you do it, the more money you're likely able to get. So it opens about October is what I believe. So I usually try to get it done before December. Actually, my daughter is now out of college. She graduated last year. So no more FAFSA forms for me. But you want to get them done as soon as possible. February, provide your high school guidance counselor with the necessary mid-year grade forms if your school requires them. Senior year, March, get ready for prom, right? And then also, about 4 weeks after submitting your FAFSA, you should receive information about how much your family is going to have to pay towards college versus the financial aid package you will be getting. So in March, you find out, you're going to be letting your schools know, yes, I'm going to go. You also may be making your decisions. So so here in April, by this time, you'll know all the schools you're accepted to. You'll find out how much money you'll get in student scholarships, in grants, and student loans. And then you want to start making your decision. And then of course, by May, you've had prom, you chose your school, you're ready to go, enjoy your last summer with the family, and you graduate. And then this summer, basically just getting ready to, like making sure the school has all the information they need, if there's any orientations. Yeah. Mr. Rayford, anything else they need to think about?
One of the things I want you guys, not necessarily to think about, I just don't want you to be discouraged. If your path is a trade school and get an education, find out a way to win. There's going to be many obstacles said to you, oh, your parents make too much money for these FAFSA or for whatever, If you get straight A's, money will come at you from a lot of places. And again, I'm not emphasizing that we all have to get A's, but I'm letting you know that there's avenues here that you can get money to achieve your goal. So think about that. Obstacles will be there. Find a way to win. Don't be slick about it. Again, I repeat, do not be slick about it. Find a way to win. And, you know, me and Ms. Tanga and my colleagues on this line wish you all the best and want only the best for you.
Yes, we do. So when you think about FAFSA and asking for the money, the first thing you want to do is get the application and fill it out. And like, there's going to be deadlines. So the sooner you get it in, the better. Once you fill out the application, you're going to need, you know, your family, your peers' information as far as their finances. And what you're going to get back is they're going to let you know how much they expect your family to contribute to your education. So that's called the EFC. So using the information on your FAFSA application, the educational department determines how much your family can afford to pay for your education. This is called the expected family contribution, or EFC. And like I said, my family didn't make much money, so my mom didn't have to pay much. But for me, it was different. I made more, so when it came time for my daughter to go to college, there was a dollar amount there. So I was expected to pay X amount of dollars. And that's why the 529 plans, the savings accounts, all of that come into play. So your student aid report, which is going to be called the SAR, after the educational department determines your EFC, they either mail or mail you a student aid report. So basically it's going to be a document that's going to let you know financially overall what they're expecting you to pay, the schools to pay, and then how everything's going to be done. What you want to do is make sure you look at all of the colleges' financial aid packages. Some schools will give you more scholarship than others, but you also want to make sure that they have the right degree, you know, your major is there, and then also that it's a good size school for you. Because so sometimes you get a full ride at one school, but you know this other school may have a better name, or it may have your direct career path. So it's going to be really important. You make a lot of important decisions. Okay, applying for financial aid. So the most important thing is to apply no matter what, even if you don't think you qualify. So like I said, I know my mother, based on her situation, we qualified. I wasn't sure if my daughter would qualify based on me, but we just applied anyway, and every year. And we got nothing, but I applied anyways. And I should say, so we never got grants, but what we got was the student loan options. We want to apply early. I already said that before. I would apply. So it says fill out the FAFSA as soon after January 1st as possible during your senior year in high school. Okay, so they say January 1st. Get a head start. The sooner you see your financial aid package and can make your school decision and plans, the more time to apply for private loans if you need them. Yeah, like if you know what school you're going to, how much it's going to cost, you'll be able to know like how much money you need to raise. Yep, and like I said, I applied every single year for myself and my daughter. And yeah, so back then we used to look at our mailbox. This is so funny to look at this video. Nowadays, it's probably all by email. So check your email. All right, so here we're looking at two different financial aid packages. So check this out. So on the left-hand side, we have University A, and on the right-hand side, University B. You'll see that University B is $18,000, which is way more than University A. So the student got the Pell Grant of $2,200 and $26. What you'll find out is if the school costs more, you will get more financial aid from the government. The state grant gave more to the state school versus the private school. And I'm assuming this is the private school. And then the university gave more money to the University B versus to University A. So each school can also give you a different amount of money. So this school gave the student more money. So sometimes you think like, oh, I'll go to a cheaper school and it'll just cost less. But this is showing you that you want to apply for the school that you know you qualify for and you want to go to, because the monies come back to you differently. And then this school gives the student more opportunity to make work study money versus the left-hand side. And the government even gave them more money and subsidized there for loan. So overall, the families paid roughly about the same amount of money. So don't just choose a cheaper school because you don't have as much money, because you never know. Between all of the different grants and work study and loans, you may still be able to afford a school that's more expensive. And before I go on, I'm going to open up the mic. I forgot to open it up earlier, but it's probably good because now I also showed you a little bit more. Does anyone have any questions or want to share any information?
I just want to add regarding this example, we got University A and University B. Don't forget that you have community college in your respective neighborhoods that you may want to stay a step into a university at less of a cost. So just keep that in mind. You know, one of the things that I tell my students in school, College of Southern Nevada, I tell them, I said, what's the difference between you and the person going to Harvard? In this country, like we talked about, I don't know, session 1 and 2, we're very prejudiced. And a lot of people think that prejudice is just skin color. No, it transcends everything. And one of them could be what school you went to. I went to a school called Mercy College. Nobody heard of that. But in my gut, I'm very competitive, very competitive. And basketball was I wanted to be a professional basketball player. However, that dream didn't come true, but in pursuit of it, one of my heroes was a New York legend called Tiny Nate Archibald. And the legend was that he used to shovel snow to practice. So guess what Professor Rayford did? I went out there and shoveled snow to practice. Same thing with the education in your life. You have to make a sacrifice. Somewhere along the line, you have to make a sacrifice to win. And one of the things that my father told me, you could listen to me or you could listen to life. Life is much, much harder because I have a roof over my head. I've got food in the refrigerator. But don't take that for granted, because once you go out on your own, like the baby bird gets pushed out of the nest by the mama and daddy bird, you're on your own. So find ways to win, but don't be slick about it. Thank you.
I like how you keep ending it with "don't be slick about it." You know what he's saying? Do it right. Do it the right way.
That's right.
All right. With that being said, anyone want to add anything to the conversation, or do you guys have any questions from the past few weeks?
So I have missed, I think 2 or 3 classes, and I know you guys say this is the last class. Is there a way I can make up those classes to try to pass the test, or what can I do?
Ms. Tanga, I don't know if this is the last. I think Ms. Nolan, Rhonda will be able to answer that. Can you shoot Rhonda Nolan an email? And she's the best one equipped to answer that question. And I thought that we had one session and then we were going to a Wells Fargo site in 2 weeks, but I could be wrong.
Nope, you're right. So the next session is going to be the assessment. And that's the type of what you're talking about. You want to make sure you're up to date so you can pass your test. So the good thing is this whole class is online. If you did a search for hands-on banking, Wells Fargo is already out there. Look for the high school class. I'll also ask Ms. Rhonda to share the link so that you guys have it and it's easy to go back and go through all of it. So it's basically the same thing you're seeing, it's all online. And I definitely congratulate you for wanting to make sure you catch up and you're up to speed. So yes, you'll have an opportunity.
Yes, send an email to Ms. Rhonda Nolan. She just put a message in chat. Next week is your test, as Ms. Tenga is articulated.
Okay. Any other question or comments?
There's some people in chat. Let me see.
Okay. And I can't see chat, so I'll let you read them.
No, they're just saying thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Have you guys enjoyed the class?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have a question.
okay.
Are we meeting in person next week or is it still on Zoom? Because I won't be in town next weekend, so I don't know if we meet in person, I'd be able to make it.
So I believe it's Zoom because it's the assessment.
Okay. Thank
Where
you.
you going?
I'm going to Atlanta with my dad.
Oh, nice.
Well, all right. But I believe the well, not believe the tour that Ms. Tenga is preparing for us, that will be, we have to show up in person.
Yep, and I believe that we're trying to schedule that for March 11th. So not next weekend, but the weekend after.
Correct.
And you'll get more information from Ms. Nolan. All right, trouble repaying. Carrie celebrated her graduation, and I'll give us some more time at the end to ask more questions or to talk. And we'll just finish up right here. Carrie celebrated her graduation from college by traveling to Africa for 6 months. The grace period of her student loan has now ended. She spent most of her savings on the trip, but had a job lined up when she got back. After 3 months of the job, she got laid off. She quickly landed part-time work at coffee bar, but she knows she's not gonna be able to make the monthly student loan payment. So yeah, if you get a student loan, you gotta pay it back, and they want it every month. So you get 6 months of a grace period to find a job, but then they want your money back. So now she got laid off and now doesn't have a job that gives her enough money. What's her best option?
The first one.
Okay, anyone else?
I also think the first one.
First.
First one.
Okay, good. Ma'am, Mr. Raper, we taught them well. We talked about debt and credit. You're right. Call the lender right away, talk about the situation and other repayment options. A lot of these lenders can work with you, but you gotta call them. You can't just let the bills keep coming or the emails. You gotta reach out and let them know that, hey, I'm struggling right now. I want to pay you. How can we come to a compromise? Mr. Rayford, what do you say about that as far as like payments? And
I agree. These creditors want their money back and they will work with you. Do not wait till the last minute. What they'll do is they'll freeze your account and you have to make payments. And what that will do to you is now you can't use that credit. So, but you gotta keep on making payments. So because you benefited up front, you gotta now make the sacrifice on the back end, but they will work with you.
yeah, they really will. Yep, and even when, like with student loans, like they'll freeze your accounts and they may, you could talk to them about like waiting 6 more months or a year and not make any payments and until that time. And then like with credit cards, you can freeze your account, use no more of it and just pay back. All right, so now you're in school, manage your money in school.
The hands-on banking program is all about being a good money manager. You can learn a lot by covering as many of the topics as you can.
But we know you're busy, especially if you're a student. So here are some tips that are really useful while you're going to school.
All right, so you want to create a personal spending plan. We talked about that earlier in the courses about budgeting, making sure you know X amount of dollars going straight to savings, and then having your other budget where you can spend that money. So you don't have to have a spending plan yet. Hold on. Spending smart to learn how. Once you have a plan, look for ways to cut costs and set aside savings. Yeah, you want to be a smart shopper. You don't want to go spending money on Jordans when you should be saving for college or saving for a big trip that's coming up. You want to be careful of credit cards. We talked about that. You don't want to spend more money than you have because you want to keep the balance low. And you also want to make sure you can afford a minimum payment and pay more. You want to make sure you're working. Remember, there are at least 168 hours in a week. If you sleep for 56 hours, attend school for 40 hours, that leaves you with 72 hours for all other activities, including part-time jobs and socializing. So you want to decide, do you want to make money or do you want to hang out? We talked about banking, opening up a savings account, and then also making a plan that X amount of dollars will go right into your savings plan. You want to make sure that you know when your bills are due so that you're paying them on time. Because we discussed before, you don't want your credit score to be low. If you're paying your credit cards late, your credit score will go low, and it's going to affect you getting jobs, affect you getting an apartment, and even credit. So you want to make sure that you keep all good records of your ATM, debit cards, and make sure you know you're looking at your monthly statements each month. Anything else you want to add, Mr. Rayford, or any of the other visitors?
No, I'm good. Mr. Whitmore, do you have anything to say? Mr. Hanks?
How you doing, Mr. Rayford? Can you guys hear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I heard a lot of plans and things that you guys covered today, and I'm very thankful to have this opportunity to listen to your call. That you guys are providing these young people with some outstanding insight to what they're going to be experiencing over the next few years of their life. And I think it's very valuable information as you've presented. I took a different path to my profession. I'm a police officer with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. As for me, as like many of you, I didn't have the money to go right into school. And at the time, I didn't feel I was ready to go right into school. So I took a different route. I went into the military. But I did find that school and college, once I got a bachelor's of science degree in criminal justice, it's helped me throughout my life and continuing my education. But one thing I would say is that no matter what you do, in your life, staying consistent and staying persistent as you tackle this this next chapter of your life is going to be critical to your success. And keeping that honor and keeping your morals and keeping your values as your guiding principles and the things that you've learned through this process will help you achieve your goals. And one day you'll be on here speaking and providing the insight to young people so that giving back and providing that guiding light for them to achieve their goals. So with that, I just wanted to say I think it's an outstanding program and great job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hanks. Yes, Mr. Hanks is a Metro officer. He's a captain, and he said that he went another avenue, and he got an education, and it just helps to connect the dots. It's not the end all be all, but it does help to connect the dots. My man, Leroy Wardlaw, do you have any comments for these bright individuals this morning? Mr. Wardlaw? Mr. Side note.
Yeah, and I'll give him a part of anything I've seen in the last few weeks, but that is a different option and another great option. And Mr. Hicks could explain this better than I can. But the military helps people to, number one, get specialized in different careers, and then also get a college education. Mr. Hanks, can you elaborate a little bit about the college portion of being a part of the military and how that works?
Yes, I can. So, just so happened, I was a recruiter for the military also. So I know things have changed a little bit, but I don't think they've changed that much. Interestingly, I had a presentation from a Marine recruiter at my house the other day for my nephew. As a young person, I decided to join, and one thing that attracted me at the time was the Montgomery GI Bill that the military offered. But also they offered trade. So myself, I went into the United States Marine Corps, and you look at those of you that are looking at trade, well, I went into aviation. So I worked on F-18 fighter jets. I worked on helicopters. I did the aviation hydraulics, basically skill. And basically I worked on, aircraft for 12 and a half years, and gained some leadership qualities and leadership experience that helped me where I'm at today, build me up and give me some life lessons and life skills, that how to communicate with others and how to lead others and how to continue to, when you're facing adversity, how you can shift, adjust, and continue to persevere and continue to drive yourself and have that self-discipline to keep on accomplishing the things that you need to accomplish. But so joining the military, you have a couple of different options. You can go a reserve route where you go to recruit training, and then you would go basically have an opportunity to go 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks out of the year, and you get paid for going to do that process. You get paid to go to those what they call them drills. You get an opportunity to go to those drills, and they get paid. But they also help you with. They have different programs. I don't want to speak for all the different programs. They have different programs that some of them pay 100% of your college. Some of them pay 75% of your college, depending on what you're studying. For myself, I did the active duty tuition assistance. They had a plan with the local community college in Southern California. I went there, and it was 75% tuition assistance. I paid like basically $100 a class. It was something like that, something very affordable that I was also getting paid for my regular duties. I'd go to class after work, and also I was raising a family at that time. So once I left the military, I joined the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. I continued my education because as I had invested in the Montgomery GI Bill. Now, when I initially invested in the Montgomery GI Bill, it was basically giving us $10,000 for college, $10,000. And I was like, man, the $10,000, that seemed like a lot of money back in 1988 when I joined the military. However, when I had the opportunity to use it in the early 2000s, the military actually paid close to $40,000 for my education. So I attained my bachelor's of science degree, and they basically paid pretty much, and also working with Metro also paid a percentage of my education. So I didn't have any money coming out of my pocket. I got the veteran rates when I was going through the college I went through. I graduated from Columbia Southern University. It was an online degree. I did some. I went to College of Southern Nevada here. Did some of my underclassmen studies there, and it was it was a great experience. And I tell you what, it was an opportunity for me to grow as a person, an opportunity for me to experience college where I had in class, I learned some skills there. And then, doing the online thing, I learned a lot of skills there and was able to, you have to be able to communicate. You guys said something earlier that was very interesting. As I think it was Mr. Rayford was alluding to, that people don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to talk. They don't know how to, I think that going in the military helped me be able to communicate myself, project myself, and to project my leadership skills. And it helped me give me the ability to articulate and present myself in a manner that others respected. And I was able to be pretty successful. I'm the captain of the Office of Internal Oversight and Constitutional Policing. So my section actually investigates all officers' use of force and in custody deaths and things like that. And a big part of that is communicating with the district attorney's office, with the executive staff of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. So I have to be able to communicate, effectively in order to accomplish my, my specific mission and job. So whether you there are options for you if you run into a situation where you need some help and things that work out for you. Well, there's another option, and I'm sure that it can assist you to be a better human being, because it'll help you grow up. It'll help you find some self-confidence and self-discipline, and get you on the straight and narrow, and so you can handle your business and be successful in life. I think that's what we all want. We all want for all of you is for you to be successful in life and to achieve your dreams and aspirations.
Yes. Wow. There's so much there to unpack. Like, I need another half an hour here just because, number one, just thank you for your service. And student leaders, I'm just like humbled and happy to have him on this call right now, because the work that he's doing with the force, I just think it's so important. We all know, and I don't want to shift it to here, but I just have to. I mean, it is what it is. We have seen so much going on the news, Black people, police officers, and I just think it is so important that we have people on the force, in the military, that look like us, that are supporting us and our causes, because we need to be in every kind of career field. We can talk about being an engineer, a doctor, an attorney, and all of that, but we need police officers, we need firefighters, we need people that care about our community being in every single career field. And when he talks about the military and the training that he's received, please know that in the military, they teach people to be nurses, doctors, electricians, mechanics, accountants, intelligence people. There's so many career paths in the military that you can do and be paid to do so. It's just, I just want to say, Mr. Hanks, thank you for being on this call. We truly appreciate it. My daughter just broke a glass. It's a bang for you being on the call. But Mr. Rayford, do you want to add some more to that?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback what Ms. Tenga said about the police department. My father was a police officer too. And when he retired, he was a police chief, one of the super chiefs in New York City. And this is my belief. I don't want to impose my belief upon you. But, we believe in, or we like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. My heroes are policemen, military, firemen, school teachers, and not necessarily in that order. Because it's my opinion, this is my opinion, they make the ultimate sacrifice. And one of the things that my father said to me about police officers were, they're human as well. So if you get pulled over, Daryl, that's my first name. My father said, if you get pulled over, and you will get pulled over, talk to them with respect. Not yeah, huh, what, If you talk to them with respect, it usually diffuses the situation. And in my experience, it has. And, you know, I respect police officers. They wake up just like you and I wake up. And you just never know, just like you and I, what kind of mood they're in. So if you treat them with respect, a lot of times it diffuses the situation. Mr. Hanks, do you have anything on top of that to say?
You know, I always have
Well,
something
these
to say
young
about
folks are
that.
transitioning, and
I-
I just wanted to give them my opinion on how to transition through this this life that we have.
Oh, yes, I think you hit on the, you know, interaction with law enforcement is always the, you know, we have legislation that's being passed right now to curb the interaction with law enforcement. But, you know, if we get down to the nuts and bolts of what's going on, it's, you know, the interaction in these situations, we have to treat people with humanity. We have to treat people with the dignity and respect that they deserve on both sides. And I don't history that we have had where we've had these officers that taken people's lives with inhumanity, and it tears at our hearts, it tears at us, it tears at us as a profession, it erodes the trust that we have in the community. And I will say for these young people, yeah, treat the officers with the same respect that you would expect. Speak to them, you know. I periodically with Dina Neal. I forgot what her title is right now, but I know she is an elected official, and I want to give her praise because she's always been one of these community members that empower people to understand how to conduct themselves when they come in contact with law enforcement. And I've assisted her with a couple of classes where we talk about how to interact with law enforcement, to remove some of that angst and anxiety that we may have when those lights come on behind you. And I would just say, you know, very quickly for this forum, that you stay calm, you answer the questions, you keep your hands where you can see them, don't make any, you know, quick movements or anything like that. I mean, you look at you have to understand we have to understand the citizens' perspective, and we also have to understand the officer's perspective. You look at we just lost Officer Trung Tai. They were investigating a domestic violence call that was on the side of the street. He pulled up next to the person's car, went up to the car and just started speaking with the subject. The subject never spoke a word to him. He reached for a gun, and then next thing you know, he fired shots and ultimately killing the officer. So there's a reason why we do things the way we do when we go up to these cars, because we know there's an unknown risk that's faced in front of us. And the humanity in that is that we want to go home to our families just like you want to go home to your families. And it's that, you know, so we are on guard, but how you interact with the officer makes all the difference in what's going to happen during the interaction of that call. And I guarantee you, if there's something that nefariously happens and you make a complaint, this agency will vigorously investigate it, review the body-worn camera, and vigorously discipline the officer if that is necessary, and be able to get back to you. Because I've worked in the internal affairs section as a supervising lieutenant, and I'm currently working in the section that I am now. We do our due diligence to investigate, to ensure that our officers are conducting themselves in a fair manner, so that we treat our citizens with the dignity that they deserve. And we adhere to the core values of integrity, courage, accountability, and respect for people. Every single day we put on our badge and gun and protect the citizens from those who want to do societal harms. So I you know, I don't know if you guys, I'll put myself out there. If you guys wanted to have another meeting with me, we can expand on this. We could, but you know, anything else, Mr. Rayford, you have, I can touch on any other topics you may want to bring up.
Captain Hanks, I think you captured it. If they want to further talk about it, you and I could get in front of these individuals and talk about how we feel, and I warrant it and I welcome it. So contact Rhonda Nolan. She's the orchestrator of a lot of these things, and we welcome the interaction. We love you guys.
Yeah, so any students, while we have a few minutes left, does anyone have a quick question for Captain Hank in regards to his military or police background?
Anything for me regarding finance? Anything to me regarding any subject matter we've covered over the past
Yeah,
couple of
any
weeks?
questions?
Remember, we've covered a lot of topics. Talk to your friends. Talk to your parents. Because a lot of this stuff that we've covered, you'll retain in discussion. So I'm proud of you, Ms. Tanger.
Okay, so I'll wrap this up here. So how to manage your financial aid, track your financial aid. So you want to make sure that you're applying on time and you're looking at it and see, you may receive some financial aid once per semester and other payments once a month. So when you're in college, they will typically, what we've seen is you usually get the big dollar amount at the beginning and it pays all your fees. Know what to expect. Think ahead about your bills you'll be receiving in the next year and keep applying for aid. So even if you're a sophomore, a junior, or a senior, keep applying for scholarships. I didn't do that and I wish I would have. So repaying your student loans, when you graduate, they're gonna give you 6 months and then you gotta start paying, repaying your student loans. There will be grace periods. Which is a 6 months. So during that time, ramp up all your money, put some money in savings, and then be ready to pay those payments. And it talks about making an extra payment. Try to save up over a couple of courses over a course of each year to make one extra payment. So the sooner you pay off your debts, the better you are. And if you can't pay, as we said before, call them. So is more education a part of your future? Now, what I'll say is you always want to get more education. And one thing I'll tell you is this. So the trick or the thing that no one ever tells you is you're going to be studying and learning for the rest of your life. So in the last 5 years, I got like maybe 7 years, I got my series 66, my series 7, my series 9, my series 10. I got an insurance license. I was like, I thought it was supposed to be done when college stopped.
What are those series? You got to tell them what those series are, Ms. Tanger.
Yeah, so those are all of my licenses to be a branch manager. So in the finance world, you had to make sure that you knew about investments and then all of the different types of investments. So each year I was getting licensed, had to learn about insurance. So basically it never stops. So even with Mr. Rayford or even with Mr. Hanks, there's always different certifications you can get to become bigger and better in your career. Mr. Rayford, have you done any, after college, did you have to do any more licenses, any more schooling?
A ton. A ton. I've got my insurance license. So a ton. She's right. But you keep your mind, even if you don't do formal education, keep your mind open and always learn. Always learn and try to connect the dots. Always learn. Listen, talk to people. Always learn.
Okay, this is the last part. Your next steps.
It's time to recap what we've covered about education beyond high school.
Higher education is a great investment in you. It can give you skills and knowledge that'll help you in life, no matter what job or career you choose.
It may also help you expand your job options and earn a good living. A 4-year college may not be right for everyone, but there are other options.
If you want to make it happen, you and your family need to start saving as much as you can as soon as you can. You also need to start thinking about where you'll find the rest of the money you'll need. Grants and scholarships, work study, and student loans.
Be sure to apply for financial aid. Remember that it takes a team effort. Talk to your family and the schools that interest you. Submit your FAFSA as early as you can and renew your application every year you're in school.
Before you take out student loans, figure out how much money you actually need. You may be able to get by without a loan. Remember, a loan is money you'll have to repay.
And finally, being a smart money manager will be a huge help while you're in school and after.
All right, I know we're at the bottom of the hour. In summary, as we've talked about in the last few weeks, is know your money. You know, be prepared, learn about investments, make sure that you're looking up what you want to do in the future. So you're looking for schools, understanding how much it costs, but basically be money savvy. This is the only way that you're going to be successful in the future. And everybody doesn't want to be rich. We get that. But you want to be financially independent, whether you live in a tiny house in Utah, like I may do in the future, or if you want to be in a penthouse in New York. You got to have money to make things happen. And no matter what, you want to be smart in general. You want to have good credit. So when you're ready to buy a car, you're ready to buy a house, or you want a job, it won't deter you. So be money savvy. So with that, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you all being here. I'm going to turn the call over to Mr. Rayford. He may see if you guys have any other questions at the end, but thank you so much. I appreciate you all.
Yeah, is Miss Nolan here? 'Cause I know she had another event.
I am
but-
here.
All right, I wanted to thank the students for attending. You guys have been great. Ms. Tanga asked me whether or not I still was learning. I learned over the past 6 weeks something. This was very engaging. You reminded me of many, many things that I knew but brought to the surface. And we hope you got some value of it. I see Mr. Russell Whitmore here. If I could take 2 minutes, Mr. Whitmore, do you have anything to say?
This has been a great class. Thank you. I've been listening while I was off camera, but to Officer Hanks, man, great background, sharing your experience with us. I'll give you my quick little background, 'cause I don't think anyone's mentioned similar experience. I got a scholarship, basketball scholarship to college. You know, I almost went to the Navy, but my senior year, after my basketball season ended, I took a couple of campus visits and got a scholarship. And so that's how I got my education paid for. And I went to work after that and went back to school while I worked and got my master's. So my job at the time paid for 70%, 75% of my master's degree. So that's an option as well, you know. So some of these companies do pay for your continuing education. So but I've enjoyed the class. Thank you to our men and Rhonda from 100 and Miss Tangwa. Thank you for the information. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Whitmore. Rhonda?
Yes.
Thank you.
Fantastic, everybody. So next week we'll be meeting here to take our final exam. So we look forward to seeing everybody next week at 10 a.m. Also, for some of the folks who missed our very first class, you missed our pre-test, and I sent you an email with a link to the pre-test so you could take it now. And so please check your emails, please check your spam box and look for an email from me if you were not in the first class and you did not take the pre-test. Okie dokie. So then after we take the test next week, we will let you know if we will be meeting the following week in person at a Wells Fargo bank. We'll give you the update on that.
Thank
Okay,
you.
and Ms. Rhonda, one more thing. One of the students mentioned that they missed a couple of classes. Can you send all the students the link to the classes so they can be ready for the test next week?
Absolutely. I will send out the link to everyone. So if you miss any classes, you can review what you missed and you'll be ready to take the test next week. And don't forget, everybody has to pass the test with an 80% or better.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. It's been a fantastic Saturday. Thanks for joining us for the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas Youth Economic Empowerment Class, High School Edition, Wells Fargo Hands-On Banking. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you to all our
Bye,
guests
everyone.
and
Bye,
Treasury.